Race and Drive on talkSPORT. Me, Andy Goldstein, down back alongside a Motorpoint. Thousands of cars, all at unbeatable prices, guaranteed. Head to motorpoint.co.uk for details. A reminder, talkSPORT is now available in more places than ever before, and you can watch us via your smart TV. Just head to talksport.com/watch for all the details on how you can watch all of your favourite shows and presenters. Plus some of our brand new content still to come. We'll be bringing you all the team news from tonight's Premier League matches. Just quickly, Arsenal are keen to negotiate a new deal with winger Bukayo Saka. Man City striker Erling Haaland will be out for up to 7 weeks with an ankle injury. And Simon Jordan was back alongside Jim White earlier today and had his say on the Wolves for Matthias Cunha's comments in the media during the international break.
As long as he performs for Wolverhampton Wanderers in the best possible version of himself, I think most football fans, beside the obsessive fringe that don't see anything other than people dying at a football club as complete loyalty, are realistic enough to go, you know what, if we can get proper dough for him, and as a result of it, given the fact that our football club has been running on fumes economically because the owner have changed their model, then maybe that's the lesser of two evils.
Let's go to the phone lines. Paul is a Wolves fan. Hello, Paul.
Good evening, guys. Good show as normal.
Thanks, man. Off you go, pal.
Regarding the Cunha situation, I've been on here many times, and I think one of you said it earlier, let his agent do the talking. Obviously, you know, we put a price tag on him, $62.5 million. He signed a contract which protects him and protects the club. Bit like the Joe Gomez situation today. He signed a 5-year deal today. Obviously, we'll have suitors round Gomez, Cunha, Andre, Aït-Nouri. We'll have suitors round them all. Wolves fans have to accept, and I've accepted, we're a buying club as well as a selling club. Yeah. It's very much like the Brighton model. You know, I heard you guys talking this morning about Minter and, Pedro. If you're going to buy a player for 20 million, you have 2 or 3 seasons out of him and sell him for 75, 80, that he goes to a bigger club. Well, it puts less stress on the finances of the club. You know, we got an average gate of just over 30,000. Would they build a bigger stadium? I'd sooner have a full 30-odd thousand than a half-empty 45,000. So it's the model we've got at the moment. You know, we've got a good recruitment system, bringing these players, from South America. And I know there's others going to be tapping into South America next year. I've heard Nuno's, going to pop his head over there. So it's a competitive world. But regarding Cunha, let your agent do the talking. And
I think, I think that's the thing as well. Is that they have got assets in that squad, because there's a few players they've got decent, like Cunha, Aït-Nouri, who I'm a big fan of at left back. They've got good players in their squad. I think Strand Larsen's only there on loan. I actually quite like him. Once they sell Cunha, the investment's got to be there. It has to be there, because I think this season, Wolves to finish fourth bottom, it's not good enough. Not good. Obviously, they've changed managers midway through as well. But once you lose a player of that quality, that talent, you've got to replace him.
Carl's a Wolves fan. He's up next. Hi, Carl.
Hi, lads. You all right?
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I just think it's poor taste from Cunha, to be honest. I think after the sending off against Bournemouth in the FA Cup and the additional, from the sending off previously, to then come out whilst you're serving a ban and start talking about moving on and looking for trophies, I just think it's poor when the behaviour is what it is. I think it's a bit of sort of one man band. And to be honest, I think if we win our next couple of games, we're pretty much safe.
Do you know what, Carl? I think that's the thing. I think every Wolves fan would probably understand that he's better than where Wolves are currently, and he's a special talent. But I think if he'd have gone in the summer, he'd have gone more with your blessing if he hadn't said anything. But now he said this, it does feel a little bit like, well, it's not my fault, it's their fault.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, you actually take his performance into account. And don't get me wrong, there has been games where he single-handedly dragged us through. There's also been games where he's done sulking and, arms thrown around and not really putting in 100%. Even the manager's come out and publicly called him out sometimes, saying he needs to do better offensively and defensively around supporting the team. So I just think it's all about him, which is great if you are performing. But when you're currently serving a 4-match ban for doing silly things, it's a bit poor taste.
Can you understand that a player like that wants to leave? And no disrespect, I like Wolves, they're close mark, but wants to better himself.
100%, yeah. And to the caller before, I think that is our model. We had the likes of Jota, Neves, Adama Traore, all these people who've moved on to bigger and better things. I wouldn't begrudge that. It's just there's ways of going about it. If you look at Matheus Nunes coming out and kind of downing tools, just to try and force her move to Man City. I just think it's poor taste, and we're giving people the platform, and you should be grateful of that. We've took him from being on the bench, if not the reserves, at Atletico Madrid, to then all of a sudden now, you're talking about him starting for Brazil, being a top 6 candidate. Show a bit of respect, I think, to the
do you know what? Do you know what as well? I do hate when players down tall when they're trying to get a move, because I almost feel like it goes against your character. Like, because the club that wants to buy you, I know they're if you're that good of a player, they'll still take the risk anyway. But I almost feel like you look at some of the players who've wanted to get moved and it hasn't happened, and then they've gone that last year. Like, the one that springs to mind is like even Hazard. Look at Salah's situation. Last year in his contract, Hazard was absolutely phenomenal his last year. Didn't down tools. I think when you start down tools in it, it sends the wrong message. It really does. And look at Matheus Nunes has gone to City. It hasn't gone well for him at all.
No. But when a player down tools, it's because he's not getting what he wants, right?
Correct.
So do the club have a responsibility to make sure that player doesn't get to that position in the first place?
Well, at the end of the day, you're getting paid that much money. Just go out there and run around. I get it. If a side like Manchester City want to come and get you, they'll get you at some point. But don't down tools.
No, you're right. You don't want to see that as a football player.
No.
Still to come, we'll be bringing you all the team news from tonight's Premier League matches. First, it's time for No Googling. Last one of the day, we have been talking about Matheus Cunha. We want to know who's the first Brazilian international to play in the Premier League.
Ooh.
Now, I remember the first...
Oh, I remember one.
I remember
Jerry Kill.
Who?
No, that's what his hair was like.
Oh, who you think of?
Emerson.
No, I can remember the first Brazilian... Okay, so people are going to have to text. This is not the answer. Newcastle bought a Brazilian, and I'm going back years. I think he was the first Brazilian to play in England.
Okay, I look forward to the answer.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not the question. Who's the first Brazilian to play in the Premier League? The answer to that, and loads more, and team news for all of tonight's matches coming up live and Drive and talkSPORT after this. But the question before the break was who's the first Brazilian international to play in the Premier League?
Juninho.
It was Juninho, yeah. He won the World Cup in...
98. No, they didn't win it in 94? 2002?
And then he went to Bahrain in 95.
Did he?
Yeah.
He went to Bahrain when?
95.
So they won it in... won it in 94, yeah, okay, 95.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot you love Brazil more than England.
No, but I just love World Cup football.
Do you love World Cup football more than I love... Or the same as I love FA Cup football?
Probably more.
Do you think so?
I heard your knowledge earlier. Yeah, what? He had one unbelievable answer. That's it.
Yeah, but I'm surrounded by two footballers. Didn't even know. And by the way, don't get me started on your questions. Your question was like, "What's your name?" Darren made a brilliant point.
No, it wasn't. I was
impossible.
Knowledge.
We'll talk about that when it comes out tonight.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.